Alright, some thoughts on the bilateral deficit. For those who don't know what the bilateral deficit is, this is the force produced when both limbs are contracting together is less than the sum of the forces they produced when contracting unilaterally. Practically, what this means is that you can lift more weight with one limb on a given exercise compared to if you're going to do that same exercise with both limbs and add each unilateral limb together. I probably didn't word that very well, but anyways, some people have asked me about this, but according to the NSCA, it's pretty normal to have this bilateral deficit. So most people are stronger with one limb than with two limbs. So what I've been asked about, or I guess what's been implied, is that if you don't have this bilateral deficit so you can lift more weight bilaterally, then this means that you are inefficient on one leg and you're either more susceptible to an injury or your performance in your sport is less than what it should be. And I just think this is total nonsense. The bilateral deficit concept is just made up. If we compare a skater squat, so a squat on one leg, to a back squat, the resources being used to complete the skater squat is not half of the resources that are being used to complete the back squat. If you're only looking at the specific leg musculature that's being used to move the load, then yes, it's half. But you're using more than just the leg musculature to complete the exercise. You are using other muscles of the body, you're using the nervous system, the ranges of motion at your hips and knees are different for both exercises. It's nonsensical to compare these two. The motor patterns of each exercise are completely different, but even if I'm going to concede that the concept is something worth caring about, the more you train and the type of training that you do is obviously going to play around in how much of a bilateral deficit that you have. If you do more bilateral squatting compared to unilateral squatting, and then you go test this bilateral deficit and realize this deficit is shrinking, it just doesn't mean anything. Of course you're getting better and more efficient on two legs. And if you're playing your sport consistently, even if it's just one time per week, having a stronger bilateral squat compared to a unilateral squat will have a negligible effect at best on how coordinated you are with producing force and rate coding and stuff like that while playing your sport. So bottom line, in my opinion, this isn't worth caring about at all.